and salutations, listener. It is I, Eric J. Chucky, joined as always by my faithful sidekick, the boy.
Hey.
It is June 10th in the year of our Lord Cthulhu 2014, and this is the Two Nerds Podcast. Before we start flapping our gums, I'd first like to apologize for being a little late this week. I was incredibly ill Sunday, so the time we usually reserve for recording was spent by me rolling around on the floor and moaning in pain. But I'm feeling much better now, so remember to hit that like button, leave a comment or two, share the video, and subscribe, because it really does help. Also, I need to extend my eternal gratitude to Super Blizzard for his Shining Was Auto track, Let's Get Hardcore. That song and more available for purchase on his lovely Bandcamp page. Link is in the description. What are we talking about this week, boy?
Well, I mean, first off, I didn't want to interrupt your spiel, but, bitch, I am not your sidekick.
I know, right? I was waiting for that, but you were just like, "Hi, I'm the boy." I wanted to theme things. It was theming.
Yeah, okay. Speaking of theming, we are discussing superhero movies. We got started on this last time, and this sort of bridged out into another conversation we felt would be useful for another podcast. This is just about superhero movies in general, especially ones we'd like to see happen in the future.
Yeah, definitely. It was at the end of our Godzilla podcast where we realized we were done talking about how great Godzilla was and decided to talk about some other shit for a while. And we talked a little bit about casting issues and about superhero movies that should be, ones that failed, ones that flourished, you know. And I just thought it would be an excellent topic, and we were waylaid a bit by Payback, WWE pay-per-view.
Oh, God. That was... No. Time?
Yeah, this is a happy time. We're not going to talk about the mess that's been the WWE the last 2 weeks.
That can be saved for the next pay-per-view podcast.
Yeah.
So, let's just get things started. I'm going to go with the superhero movie that I want to see probably the most that I might actually get to see. And that's a Wonder Woman movie.
Really?
I really want a Wonder Woman movie.
I know, I'm not surprised by that. I'm surprised that you might actually get to see it.
Well, from what I've seen of some screenshots of productions and stuff, Diana's a character in the Batman-Superman movie. So, I mean, it might just be leading up to, an eventual Justice League movie, but I'm really hoping for a solo Wonder Woman piece. She's at least as cool as Superman, and Superman's gotten 18 movies.
I'm hoping for a good Wonder Woman movie. I'm super picky about my Wonder Woman.
You really are. I'm not nearly as picky. As long as she's relatively badass, punches the shit out of some people, I'm pretty happy.
Well, I mean, really that's all I want out of my Wonder Woman. And the amount of... mostly outside of comics, but sometimes even within the comics, the amount of times that it's been failed to deliver... Like, I like her just fine on the Justice League show, the animated one. And, she's been good in the DC animated movies we've watched. I mean, they're all part of the same mythos, but...
Most of them are. Some of them aren't, but they usually get a very similar actress.
Sure.
The same actress.
Well, there have been times where I've seen, like, the failed TV show pilot, which obviously failed for a reason, but...
Oh, God, yeah. Pants to be darkened and all that.
Just some of the concepts people have put forth, and with the negative attitude toward, females in comic book movies that's been floating around lately, I'm afraid we're not going to get Commander Shepard out of Wonder Woman. I'm afraid they're going to give us something altogether stupid.
Gal Gadot is the actress who's playing Diana in the Batman-Superman movie, and... she's Israeli, so she has the right sort of features.
Sure.
I want to see her in the role, because the big part of Diana for me isn't necessarily how the actress looks, as much as how they physically comport themselves. Diana needs a kind of heavy-handed confidence about the way she moves that I don't know if this person can portray well.
I'd also kind of like it if she were athletic looking.
Well, I mean, yeah, she's supposed to be like a athletic, like a Greek statue. Sort of.
Right, but that hasn't stopped people in the past from going, athletic, eh? Like a model, you mean?
No, someone who looks like they can hold up a perhaps a sword, or
Yeah.
maybe just a tray of drinks.
I don't need to be. I don't need her to be ripped or anything like that. She's not.
Ripped
She-Hulk.
would be preferable.
Look, I'm not going to argue, but athletic. Some muscle tone to her. Like bigger than Kobe Smulders.
Yeah, not much bigger.
No, it doesn't have to be much bigger, but that's my bare minimum. Is you're going to need to be more toned than she was in the Marvel movies.
And I mean that's a pretty good line, and that's mostly just for like in the same way I don't want a skinny twiggy Batman.
Right.
This is a physical person. This is someone who whomps ass.
Yeah.
They need to look like they whomp ass.
Which,
like Spider-Man can be twiggy. That's part of his deal.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of a superheroine who can be twiggy like that, and it works just fine.
Well, there's a lot of characters who rely more on magic. Like
Zatanna can be a model chick.
She's more hippie than that, but Star Sapphire can just be just sex appeal and doesn't have to be.
But Wonder Woman.
Yeah, she's down there fighting, man. She's made of grr. Like you can't do Hawk Girl as a twig.
No, all right. Now, the Hawk Girl has to be built like a brick shithouse if they're ever going to do a Hawk Girl movie.
I don't want them to do a Hawk Girl movie. I hate Hawk Girl.
Whatever. You just hate Hawk Girl because she killed Cthulhu.
He was just trying to help. They were friends, and then she stopped calling him, and he was like, "Hey, what's up?" And she was like, "Screw you, Cthulhu! You're not my dad. Not the Hulk. Kill him." And Cthulhu's like, "What?" And Hulk is Grundy's like, "Roar!" Screw Hawk Girl. Honestly, her role in that entire series was built to piss me off.
Yeah.
I mean,
she's just hard-nosed cop lady.
Well, but the few characters I like in that series, she kind of fucks over.
Yeah, she doesn't do... I mean, the Lantern and her are both... they're... But, aside from the whole, traitorous spy thing, you shouldn't really fuck anybody over.
Well...
And even that was... understandable. But anyway, I don't know, what's a superhero movie you'd love to see that you think you'll actually get to see?
That I think I'll actually get to see?
Or might get to see.
New Spawn movie.
New Spawn movie?
Yeah, I love Spawn. When I was a kid, when I was growing up, I had 3 favorite superheroes. It was Batman, Spider-Man, and Spawn. They were all the ultimate badass, and they were all so different. Batman, no powers. All technology, all his genius, and that was awesome. Spider-Man, all kinds of crazy shit going on. But he also had that wit, he took superheroing seriously, but he didn't let it get to him, and I really liked that. And then Spawn, who's just this tragic figure with all this power that he has to be super careful about using. I love that. I love it. It puts like a crutch on him that, you can go all out. You can save the day as hard as you want. The more you do that, the sooner you belong to Satan. So, and yeah, I've heard whisperings that I like the original Spawn. It was goofy.
It was goofy, but it was fun goofy.
Yeah, it was fun goofy. I mean, it's good 90s schlock,
And that's the thing. I don't know that a new Spawn movie would go over well, because I don't know that we're in a place as a culture where a new Spawn movie would be what it would need to be. Spawn's a very 90s property.
I'm sorry, have you ever heard of Gears of War? They have chainsaw guns. Everything is grim and dark, and John DiMaggio reigns supreme.
And this is the age of the... Well, people say this is the age of the gritty reboot, but when's the last actual gritty reboot you saw?
That went well, or just in general?
Yeah, that went well. That sold any numbers.
The Batman reboots, the Dark Knight trilogy as it's come to be known. You want to be perfectly honest, both Captain America movies are a pretty gritty version of Captain America. I mean, he's 4-color as hell, so there's only so much grime you're going to put on that.
I wouldn't even go so far as to say gritty. I would say that's it's a wash out.
Yeah, it's more realistic. But I think people are in general a bit jaded and quick to judge. And I'm not saying anybody's opinion is invalid. That's your job.
Most of your opinions are invalid. That's just so we're all clear on the subject.
But I like realism. I like looking through the glass darkly, and I think there's a line you cross. There's pointless grimdark, and then there's enjoyable grimdark. The Dark Knight series, the trilogy, bar a couple missteps, was good. Okay, even the first one had its. And it wasn't a bad movie. I don't like watching it because I don't think Nolan and Goyer can do a good origin story. I just don't think they have it in them.
I think they do origin stories. I think your problem with that stems from the fact that they do origin stories first.
Well, that might be it. The fact that they do an origin story, like this character starts as Bruce Wayne and becomes Batman at the end of the movie. Whereas I either come from a time or have been built to prefer a character who starts as Bruce Wayne, becomes Batman halfway through the movie, and then uses his power as Batman to finish the challenge. I want to see more of the hero. I don't need to see that much of the man.
Whereas, and this is why I think Batman and Superman might be very good, because think about the last time they made an origin story with sort of not a lot of the build-up, and only becomes the real hero in the last minutes of the movie.
You're being generous.
Yeah. So here's the thing.
I don't know what you're talking about. Zod was a hero throughout that entire film.
No, he wasn't. Here's the thing. What happens next is you get The Dark Knight.
Yeah, maybe.
I can hope.
I don't wanna.
I always have hope for Batman movies.
I'm having a hard time as it is getting past Batfleck.
Dude, I don't know why.
Because he's... I can totally accept him as Bruce Wayne. That's not a stretch for me. I don't think I could believe him as Batman.
Michael Keaton.
I was too young then. I mean, you can say that, and, maybe a guy who was a little older than me at that time can go, you know what, I didn't think Mr. Mom could do it. But...
Heath Ledger as the Joker.
I had full faith in Heath Ledger. I knew he could act. Because I've seen him act. He'd been fairly typecast as, hot boy. But that's what he grew up doing in Australia. Soaps. Soaps. But I knew he could act. I loved him in A Knight's Tale. I thought he would do an interesting interpretation of the Joker. I had no idea what interpretation of the Joker he was going to do. I thought he was going to play it a little more traditional.
Turns out no.
No, but I loved it, and I think he did a great job.
To date, the only time the pop culture has gone, oh no, this guy can't be Batman, and they've been right, they've only been right once about a casting decision for a Batman movie. And that was Clooney and Schwarzenegger. And that whole movie was a pile of shit.
That was a brightly colored shit, no less.
But every other time that pop culture has been like, oh no, this person can't be X. Oh no, Jim Carrey as the Riddler, that doesn't make any sense. No, he did a good job. He had a lot of fun with that role, and he did as much the Riddler as he could do.
I still say it was a great Joker in a Riddler costume.
And that's what you wanted from that movie. Because the rest of that movie's tone wouldn't have been met.
No, and yeah, that's why the Riddler's a bad villain to do in a goofy Batman movie.
Yeah, he's a great villain for more cerebral Batman movies.
Yeah.
He's not a good villain for a goofy Batman movie. Because, barring the 60s television show, he's not a goofy villain. And that's really what Jim Carrey was doing. He was doing the 60s television show.
Even in the 60s television show, he was pretty... I mean, for the 60s Batman, he was pretty hardcore.
Well, that's like saying... No, I have no analogy there. That's... Dude, no. 60s... Nothing was hardcore in the 60s.
Well, Batman. I mean, comparatively speaking.
He was about as wacky as the Penguin and Catwoman and as everyone except Cesar Romero.
But I like the interpretation of Enigma in the Arkham series.
Yeah, that's probably one of my favorites.
He's still kind of goofy, but like he's also scary.
Like scary goofy.
Yeah.
a mixture between ineffectual sad sack and Jigsaw.
Yeah, well, I like the fact. I mean more his character. I mean, I love the whole Jigsaw thing. I thought that was really cool. But I love how he's cracking slowly. Well, we haven't played the last game, so I don't know.
But that one's a prequel anyway.
Yeah.
Who cares?
But he's losing it, and you can feel him losing it. You can feel him going, Batman's figuring everything out. My God, what if he's smarter than me? Well, that can't be. And just his widow brain cracking and going, fine! And getting more desperate. He feels so real. I mean, he would have fit perfectly into the Nolan Batman movies.
And they teased it, but then they went with Deckard Bane. So there was that.
One voice change.
I saw a meme, a thing on an internet list, such and such ways you could improve movies. Just a picture. Picture of Bane, up in the corner. Picture of James Earl Jones at a voiceover stand.
Yeah,
Would have been better than what we got.
I don't disagree. It would have been a weird casting choice. Like, keep the same figure, make him Danny Trejo. That would have been pretty
Just
tight.
have Danny Trejo do all the voices?
Yeah. You get him in that deep register where he's like, whoa. That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, but they went with letting that guy do that voice. And like the Bat voice before it, Nolan went, no, that seems legit.
Yeah. I really hoped that was going to, calm down. Like Commander Shepard. He was going to grow into it by the third movie.
And that's what I had hoped too. I was like, no, see... Because back then I was like, oh, it makes sense that his Bat voice would be fucking ridiculous because he just started being Batman.
Yeah, no, I thought it was genius.
So, he'll get more used... No, it got worse than anything.
Yeah. So that's what Jeff feels like.
I swear to God, give Affleck a vocalizer. Just give him a vocalizer, please.
The thing is, Batman doesn't need that harsh of a voice difference.
Well, look, if you want a harsh voice difference, give him a vocalizer. Please, because... Well, none of them are going to be Kevin Conroy.
No one's going to be Kevin Conroy. But there's a difference between, gruff, between Solid Snake and fucking Cookie Monster. It's if you are at all good at voice acting. Which I don't think Christian Bale probably is.
He's great at acting.
He's good at acting. He's amazing at acting. And he does accents well, but they're all Christian Bale doing an accent. He's not...
Like myself.
Sure, right. But, making different voices is not a thing for him, really. Now, I could be completely wrong, and he might be amazing, and that was a direction choice, and I don't know what the fuck they were thinking. But then again, we have Deckard Bane. But there's a difference between, hey, I'm billionaire playboy Bruce Wayne, and I'm the Bat. And that's a small difference. And I'm sorry I slipped into my Kevin Conroy there, because that's a horrible example, because it's a perfect example. But let's even go Solid Snake, Metal Gear. That's fine. He's just gruff. Then you have where Batman has started a death metal band for no reason. Soul is aching, Joker sucks. I mean, we're talking about huge degrees there.
I'm not disagreeing.
Oh, shit. I just thought of an amazing actor, modern, current actor for the Riddler.
Who?
Damn if his name doesn't escape me.
What was he in?
Rumple.
Oh my God. You sure he's not a shade aged?
I don't care. The Riddler doesn't need to be a teenager. He doesn't need to be Marilyn Manson the Riddler. Although I thought that was an inspired design choice.
Yeah, that was neat.
There were a lot of design choices I liked in that show, and honestly, Kevin Michael Richardson did a really good Joker. I hate the design of the Joker in that show, but his voice acting wasn't bad.
Robert Carlyle.
Robert Carlyle, that's it. That would be a pretty sweet Riddler. Can't you just see him twirling a cane and mocking Batman?
He could do it as Mr. Gold, the non.
Oh yeah.
But if he set that bar to full Rumpelstiltskin, that'd be Jim Carrey again.
No, yeah, it'd be Jim Carrey again. Maybe he goes to that degree, like after a while when he's cracked.
I mean, like again, he's a shade long in the tooth for it. But I think full Rumple, he'd make a decent Joker.
Oh, maybe. I could see that, too. I think his accent might be a bit off-putting for your average audience member.
Why is the Joker from Europe? Why is the Joker from anywhere? Why is Mark Hamill's the Joker from Chicago?
But, other movies I'd like to see. I think we touched on this last time. Jon Stewart, Green Lantern movie. Hands down. Black Panther. Hands down. I would love to see both of those made into movies.
Yes, please. 2 tickets. That's just for me. He can buy his own. I'm buying one and then another one to incentivize you to make more of these movies.
I mean, they're giving us Black Human Torch.
Which, you know what? I'm not a fan, but so long as they acknowledge that it's weird.
Well, if he's like adopted or if they're mixed parentage.
Like it can be a 3-second scene. You can wipe this away in 3 seconds. Like, this is my brother Johnny. Your brother?
So long as they don't do it like they did in the original Dawn of the Dead. I don't know. I know we watched the movie together, but I don't know if the scene messed up on that part for you. Where they get into the helicopter and Ken Foree is talking about how his brother's down there in the mess. And the reporter lady, in pure 70s fashion, is like, your brother, like your street friend?
I don't think they'll do that. Like, so long as it's, Sue Storm's like, this is my brother Johnny. Is your brother? Beat. He's adopted.
Or even if she's like, it's 2014, fine! But you're changing his character for no other reason than to marketing appeal to African Americans.
Which is fine, but could you please, instead of changing an already existing character, give us one of the many, many, many really cool African American superheroes and African superheroes?
Oh man, I love Black Panther. I love Black Panther. He is so awesome. He is superpowered African Batman.
He's African Captain America.
He's African Captain. He's Captain Africa.
Africa's a continent. So is America, I suppose. But it's not like Captain America has like a maple leaf and a star and a Mexican flag.
See, Black Panther's better though, because despite his name, if we had a Captain Africa, he'd have like a big ass afro and just be like green and black and yellow and red. Like, he'd be the most noxious thing. It would be one of those things Marvel would cover up for years and, like, change his outfit and make him look like he's just wearing a black leotard with gun belts everywhere.
Just, like, can we just not acknowledge, like, pie face? Let's just not acknowledge that this was a thing that happened.
I'm so sorry, culture.
But, and Black Panther's very interesting, but the problem is I don't think we get a Black Panther movie. There's no place for Wakanda, not T'Challa himself, there's no place for Wakanda in the Marvel Universe.
I think there's a place for Wakanda, but not yet. I think probably after Avengers 3, there's a place for Wakanda.
I don't know, dude. Unless they go full Gorilla City with it, there's no place for Wakanda.
Well, I don't see why they wouldn't go full Gorilla City with it. I mean, there's a lot of continuities where Black Panther gets introduced a little later, and it's because Wakanda has disappeared from the fucking map.
They just they just stayed in their little super city, and I mean, it would be good
because that vibranium had to come from somewhere.
Yeah.
I mean, they've got the Wakanda Inn just sitting there on Cap's arm.
Especially with the line, "Don't mess with it." That's all we got.
Yeah.
Well, that doesn't make any sense. Why would that metal be that rare? And if it's that rare, why would you have found enough of it to make a shield? Unless you found a thing.
Yeah, exactly. Jon Stewart wouldn't be hard to squeeze in anywhere, though.
No, he's a Green Lantern. You can pop the Green Lanterns right in.
Yeah.
Oh, look. fucking Thanos is coming and making some noise over here. Well, that means it's time to send the Green Lantern. Send a space cop.
Send the space cops. I love the lanterns. I love the mythology of them. There's not a lot that I really cleave to. Jon Stewart, Dexter. That's about it. I like Atrocitus and Larfleeze in theory. I like Larfleeze.
Who doesn't like Larfleeze?
I would probably kill a man for a good Lobo movie.
Yeah, but that ain't gonna happen.
No, it seems really unlikely that someone would go, alright, I'm gonna make a Lobo movie if you kill this guy.
No, a good Lobo movie just isn't gonna happen.
I know.
No one's gonna put their... a good Lobo movie would have exactly the same tone as Batman and Robin does. But it would work because it's Lobo.
Right.
And no one's gonna, after Batman and Robin just completely tanked to the moon, no one is going to put their tongue that firmly in their cheek for a superhero movie.
You know, I'm torn.
Especially not the people in charge of DC movies.
I'm torn. Because I think Zack Snyder would do a good Superman versus Lobo flick. But I'm afraid of what Nolan and Goyer would do to that good Superman versus Lobo flick. Lobo would come down from space and be like, "What's up, guys? You ready for a fight?" The main man always wins.
Chris Nolan nodding in the background. Yeah, I like
this
that.
Sounds amazing.
I like this voice choice. It's unique. Not always the right call, Chris. Not always the right call.
But I think Zack Snyder, I think if someone showed him a picture of Lobo, he'd be like, "Can I make this into a movie?" I'm sure he's already aware of it, as huge of a comics fan as he is, but...
I'm sure he has shown people pictures of Lobo in the past. I want to make a movie out of this.
He's got a motorcycle and guns. That's great.
But no, especially not. Maybe if he was a Marvel character, you could see it, because they make the Guardians of the Galaxy. They'll make anything now.
That's the funny thing, we're sitting here talking about what movies would we like to see, and despite my little foray into Image Comics, most of it's been DC. And I think it's just the mentality at DC Comics in general. DC Comics keeps going weird routes with their... That's true. Their products.
Even with their comic lines and with their movies especially. And I think the reason we don't have a lot of Marvel, there's the Black Panther, which I'm mostly just hesitant for because I don't know where they'll fit him in. But if they really want to, they could.
Look, they're doing Ant-Man. They're even doing second Ant-Man. They're doing
started on that.
Doctor Strange. They're giving us the Luke Cage and Iron Fist TV shows on Netflix.
Gonna watch those, by the way.
Oh yeah. We've got Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Marvel's more of a... We'll get to it. Give us a minute.
Then they might get to a Black Panther, and I would be infinitely happy if they did get to a Black Panther
definitely.
movie. But that's one of the reasons I'm not as, strong on... There's a bunch of Marvel superheroes I'd really love to see. Bitch, we'll see them. They will happen somewhere, somehow. We will see those Marvel movies. All the movies I really want to see that I'm yearning for are DC movies, because I don't think I'm going to get to.
Yeah. Although I'm going to laugh if, in the year 2050, they come out with an X-Statix movie.
I'm sure Days of Futures Past was good. I haven't seen it.
Oh, yeah.
I haven't seen First Class either.
No.
After X3, and more specifically, looking into the information on X-Men Origins Wolverine, both my sidekick here and myself, bitch.
I'm your ward.
Yeah. My young ward here. We both just sort of tapped out of the Fox X-Men movies.
Actually, no, it is 100% purely because, I didn't watch Origins Wolverine because it was stupid. I watched the first 5 minutes and went, out.
I didn't even get that. I didn't even watch any of it. I saw information on it that is stupid enough that I just did not.
I could have sworn you were watching it.
No.
Who the hell was watching that?
It wasn't me.
Maybe it was our good friend Lee.
Yeah,
I think that might be possible.
I flee that movie.
Yeah, no, I saw 5 minutes of it. I was like, no, I am not watching this trash. enough for Wolverine and Sabretooth to be brothers, and went, nope. Man, I'm not super hard comics nerd, but when you go changing shit for no real reason, Superman, Sabretooth and Wolverine have a strong enough relationship already. You don't need to make them brothers.
But I understand the theming there. I understand the decision behind that particular thing. That's combinations of characters, because the character who was Logan, James Howlett's brother in that storyline, is thematically very similar to Sabretooth. They're very similar characters. Dog and Sabretooth are very, they have similar actions, similar outlooks on life. Combining them into one character for the purposes of a 2.5 hour movie, that's just the kind of adaptation, distillation that you have. They combine characters whose themes are very similar.
I don't know that you need to do that part of it. Because they were both adults, okay? By that time, Logan was in,
Weapon X?
Well, yeah, Weapon X. He was hanging out with everybody who was in Weapon X. To do that storyline, the actual inception of Wolverine and Sabretooth's feud, that would have been great. What was it, Silver Fox he was in love with? Something like that? Yeah. I might be having the wrong name there, it's been a while. But, come on, that's fodder right there. Instead, we get this dumbass plot line about making a super mutant that's Hyper Deadpool Ultra 9000.
It's the Ultimates Weapon X plot line.
It's dumb.
And it's Ultimates Deadpool. That's all it is.
Well, but no, the real reason I stopped watching those movies, the reason I haven't seen the new Spider-Man movies, is because Sony and Fox won't give up the rights.
Yeah, I'm not going to go give you, all of the X-Men movies, Spider-Man movies, what have you, I intend on watching. They're going to be, if I can borrow a DVD from a friend, if I can get it, free of charge some way that's legal, I'm going to do it that way, because I'm not giving these people money.
Yeah.
You make shitty Marvel movies. Give the rights back to Marvel so they can incorporate the X-Men and fucking Spider-Man into the Marvel Cinematic Universe where they belong. Spider-Man belongs where he always should be, desperately trying to get into the Avengers.
Yeah. Oh man, those jokes would be great.
Wolverine's an Avengers Charter member, man. That he's not in that group is really a travesty. Now, I appreciate everything Marvel's done with the superhero properties left to them. But you took their biggest flagships, and now that they are up on their feet doing stuff, you won't give them back. And I recognize you're just trying to make money, but fucking stop it already. I don't want to see your version of these characters. I want to see their version of these characters integrated with all the other characters, because the Marvel Cinematic Universe is a wonderful renaissance for comic book movies that might never happen again. And you are denying me the fastball special with the Hulk and Wolverine. You are denying me Wolverine and Captain America being old war buddies. You are denying me comic book connections that I really love. And I do not want to give you money so that you can keep doing that.
That's basically it. You vote with your dollar. I don't get why all these people who end up hating on all the new X-Men and Spider-Man movies are like, well, that was shit, I'm gonna go watch the second one now.
No.
On opening night, midnight release.
Just don't. Just go.
Don't.
Vote with your money.
You can not watch the movie. I've made it this long.
Yeah, I've never seen X-Men First Class, never seen the Wolverine, never seen X-Men Origins Wolverine. The last X-Men movie I watched in full was X3. You can vote with your dollar. You have the option of, I don't want these people to continue making these movies. I'm not going to go to them.
But, we talked a little bit about movies we'd like to see that might get made, that'll probably get made. What about a superhero movie you'd really love to see that is probably not going to get made?
Jamie Reyes.
Yeah?
Blue Beetle 3.
Okay, that's cool. Yeah, Blue Beetle, he's really popular.
Specifically Jamie Reyes. I love Ted Cord, don't get me wrong. The
Sure.
first Blue Beetle I could take or leave. Jamie Reyes.
I think that'd be really good.
Static Shock.
Mm-hmm. I think it'd be really good.
Virgil Hawkins is an amazing superhero, and that is a really, really smart decision, and no one will ever fucking make that movie.
No.
You?
I have two. Swamp Thing.
Ooh, a Swamp Thing movie. That's a tough sell.
I'd like a good Swamp Thing movie.
Oh,
not the original Swamp Thing movie.
That's no. When you say Swamp Thing, I assume you're talking about like Grant Morrison's run.
Oh God, yeah. It doesn't even have to have all the crazy shit. Just Swamp Thing, you know.
Yeah, that's a tough sell.
I love Swamp Thing. Like, I love weird ass superheroes. But I love Swamp Thing. I think he's really cool. I think it'd look awesome. I think if they got the right actor for it, it would be phenomenal. Also, Excalibur. And that might happen. Maybe. But like I said, it's going to be 2050 kind of thing. Yeah, I really like Excalibur, and it's a shame that nobody's really done more with them. And I'm talking about, like, Megan and Captain Britain and Nightcrawler, like, and there's a couple other guys with him. The weird guy who looked like Lion-O. I liked Excalibur, man. They were cool. Not after they got all those weird little mutants, the cartoony ones. That was dumb. But, like, as a team, I'd love to see them. And, I mean, wouldn't that be awesome for UK people in general to see, like, their very own superhero team? You know, high property kind of team. That's tight.
I don't disagree, but you're right. Much like Swamp Thing, that's a tough sell.
Well, Swamp Thing, even if somebody got a hair up their ass and saw the movie or the TV show is actually okay. It wasn't great, but it was better than the movie. But I could see someone seeing the TV show and going, we should do that. But I think some really weird, obscure company owns the rights to Swamp Thing.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of another superhero movie that I really want that I don't think is gonna happen.
It's not a superhero movie. I'd like gay Electro, please.
From what I understand, Amazing Spider-Man 2 had like gay undertones, Electro.
Yeah, everything has gay undertones if you look hard enough. Anything where there's conflict.
Yeah. That movie sounds really bad. That's another reason I'm not gonna go see it. Like, because even if, that's full disclosure, I'm not made of stone. If those movies look really awesome, I'd probably go see them. They don't.
No.
So...
Shit, I'd like to see a good movie with Venom. And I know they're making a Venom movie, but I want to see a good one. I love Venom!
I love Venom too, and I'm probably the only guy on Earth who is perfectly fine with Topher Grace's portrayal of Venom.
I liked his portrayal of Eddie Brock okay. It wasn't the big meat-headed Eddie Brock, but why was he a photographer in the first place?
Yeah, that's weird.
But, that there was barely a Venom in that movie.
Yeah, there was like 3 seconds of actual Venom.
It was, that movie was full of dumb swerves. Easily the worst.
Swerves. That's the exact right way of putting it.
It was like unnecessary. Look, okay, when you start a new movie adaptation of a comic book series, I expect there to be retcons and rewrites. I expect things to be different. Some things I'm going to question, like when a character changes race. Why is Shredder white now?
Yeah, why is Shredder a white guy? That's weird.
I mean, it's not like outrage enough that I'm not going to see the movie, but why is Shredder white now?
Why are you up and changing all the races in the Avatar movie? Why are you doing that?
I guess maybe Ken Watanabe was busy. And who else are you going to play Shredder?
Many other Asian actors.
Yeah. I think Ken Watanabe would do a damn good job, though.
Yes, he would.
But, really all things more Ken Watanabe equals best. Can we get Sunfire in here? Woo! D-list superheroes.
But, yeah, like... Because they do it a lot, I don't understand why.
Like, it's...
When you have a reason, any reason, I'm okay with it. Like...
I think the most shallow reason is the pandering. Especially when there are actual superheroes in this demographic. And that you could be using. And I'm not trying to say that as in, like, I didn't mind when they relaunched Spider-Man with Black Mexican Gay Spider-Man.
Yeah, no, Miles Morales
Yeah,
is
Miles
actually...
Morales, thank you.
He's actually a pretty interesting character.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind if they did that.
But he's not Peter Parker. That's
Like-
fine. He's a different dude.
Like Amazing Spider-Man 3, the new Fox reboot, they kill off Peter and Miles comes in. Fine. Good,
Fine.
yes.
Yeah,
So-
that's interesting. I don't know if the movie-going audience would be too into it, but...
No, I don't think they would.
But, okay, let's say they relaunch it. Spectacular Spider-Man, and it's
just Miles.
Miles Morales. Some people might go, why is Spider-Man black? But they're just going to hang out on Fox News and be all up their own asses about
Or
it.
it'll be the same people who don't know who Dwayne Dent is.
Yeah.
Because Miles Morales is kind of a niche
Semi-obscure,
cake.
yeah. There's another movie I'd like to see that's never going to get made. Superior Spider-Man.
No one's ever... Look, alright, Superior Spider-Man is 2 comics, a storyline to make it to the big screen.
Because
he's the superior Spider-Man.
Look, what did I just say? When I was a kid, my 3 favorite superheroes, Batman, Spider-Man, and Spawn. Nowadays, I don't even really count myself a Spider-Man fan.
One more day.
I've lost it. Well, One More Day was a big nail in the coffin, but they just keep pounding them in. I mean, it's like, I like Spider-Man from back in the day, but I'm even having a hard time finding those places where I did, because he even kind of bothers me in the old cartoon series now. And that's just because I'm older, and, it's the same reason I don't like Terry McGinnis.
You hate Terry McGinnis.
I just think that show's dumb.
Now, that's superhero movie I'd like to see. That'll probably happen eventually. I see a Batman Beyond movie at some point in the future.
Maybe, yeah. I wouldn't. I'd be a little surprised, but not too surprised.
I'd like that. I think Terry's an interesting character, and I'd like to see a movie, a DC Spider-Man movie. That'd be interesting. That's all Terry is. Spider-Man.
Well, that's what you wanted out of Blue Beetle. I mean,
yeah, he's DC Spider-Man. He really is DC Spider-Man. Yeah. Just think there's so much storytelling there that they don't ever do.
What do you mean? Like within the series?
Like within the series, the Spider-Man archetype.
The
Spider-Man, and maybe the new ones have done this. I don't know. They look too lame for me to care. But there's a lot of storytelling in Spider-Man that doesn't get told.
I find that they tend to skip over the developing relationships between Peter and other characters. Like, even his romantic interests. And again, in the Amazing Spider-Man movies, they might do that.
Actually, from what I understand, the Amazing Spider-Man, Gwen Stacy, Peter Parker thing is actually an incredibly well-developed romance. Side note, that is an utter waste of casting. That actress is Mary Jane Watson. Born, bred, and in inclination. You just took Mary Jane Watson and changed her name to Gwen Stacy. I have no idea why you did that, because that actress is Mary Jane from the comics. Gwen Stacy in the comics was kind of fucking boring. Ironically, like Mary Jane from the first 3 Spider-Man movies.
Yeah, there's so much. Peter got hard times. A lot of it's about his internal struggle. A lot of it's about how much he fucking cares about people. Even the villains. It's not like Batman where he has a no-kill rule. I mean, he does. It's an unwritten rule. But it's not that he doesn't want to kill anybody because that's not how justice is done. It's, please don't die. You're my friend's dad. Or, please don't die. We can make you better. We can save you. You're my favorite teacher. You're my other favorite teacher. You're really hot. He's a good person. He doesn't have these feelings of vengeance and mean-spiritedness.
That's actually a good dichotomy to draw. Spider-Man's a good person.
Yes.
Peter Parker's a good man at his core. He doesn't want to kill anyone because, by God, that really should not be your first line of defense against people robbing banks, is straight up murdering them. That's bad. He doesn't want to kill anyone because that's a terrible thing to have to do. I don't know that Batman is a good person. Batman's a just person.
Sure.
He's a righteous person.
Yes.
Because I think in his heart of hearts, Bruce Wayne does want to fucking murder these people. Because it'd be so easy and it would make things so much simpler.
Mm-hmm.
And he knows he can't.
Because then he would become them.
And that's the dichotomy that's worth drawing. Peter not killing someone should always come from a place of compassion.
Yeah. And yet, and I like this trilogy, mostly for casting reasons, but the first 3 Spider-Man movies, they were really shitty about that. The only one he really showed forgiveness and compassion toward was Sandman.
No, he was pretty he was pretty forgiving for Otto.
Kinda, but then not really.
Yeah, he was like, "Oh man, no, I should save you." And Otto's like, "No, it's cool." And he's like, "All right, well, bye."
It was the same thing with Green Goblin. He was like, "No, you're Norman," and he's like, "Don't tell Harry," and then dies, and he's like, "Whatever."
Well, he doesn't tell Harry.
No. There are 2 other goblins they could have used. I was so excited for Hobgoblin. The 3rd movie pissed me off a lot.
What? Paintball Goblin not your favorite thing in the movie? Also...
there's so many directions you could have gone. That reads to me like bad 90s marketing. What are the kids into these days? Paintball, right? Only a paintball villain. Sell millions of dollars.
Paintball and surfboards and snowboards and extreme. Why was he riding a snowboard? Why was he riding a fucking snowboard? Why were you riding a fucking snowboard? That's dumb.
The love triangles are also a really important part of Spider-Man, and they haven't really explored that.
They did, but it was always really lazy in the first 3 movies. It was always,
Oh, I wasn't talking about, somebody else Mary Jane Peter. I was talking about Peter Parker, Mary Jane Felicia Hardy, Peter Parker, Mary Jane Gwen Stacy, Peter Parker.
See, for me, I don't know. I don't miss that stuff. Because, look, Peter Parker's Spider-Man. He's a hero and all that. I've always had a little bit of trouble believing this mildly introverted nerd guy has all of these ridiculously hot women all up on his dick.
Okay, here's the other thing, too. Peter Parker doesn't make much sense removed from the era he was created in.
He's a product of his time.
He is. He really is. Because that guy doesn't really exist anymore.
Yeah, there's no more dweebus. There's just...
Well, I mean, there are dweebuses. There are 2 on this podcast.
Hi.
But, not in the same way as Pete was. And in the comics, as much of a dweebus as he was, Peter Parker was a handsome fella. He looked like a regular guy, not a mongoloid. The current portrayal of him, physically, is probably the most accurate we've seen in a while.
That stupid fucking hair, man.
Well, but that's what a Peter Parker would look like in this day and age.
Which makes me all the madder, because they're being accurate, and I don't want that.
How dare you be accurate? It'd be kind of nice. Period piece Spider-Man movie.
Yeah. That'd be sweet.
Or a J. Jonah Jameson movie.
Specifically from the first 3 movies.
Yeah.
I didn't know he's in the new trilogy.
No, he's not. I don't think there's a Jameson in the new trilogy.
Boo. Boo. JJ's integral. He's an unmovable. He's a fixed point in the Spider-Man mythos.
He's so important. But, I think Spider-Man would actually work better as an hour-long drama show.
Yeah, as a, Dawson's Creek.
Like Arrow.
Smallville,
sure.
I don't know that you're wrong.
No, I think the plots would develop better, because that's the other thing. Spider-Man's plots are different.
They love sandwiches mostly.
Well, actually, he funded a Kickstarter. Batman and Spider-Man is a thing now.
Yay!
So, yeah, right? But Spider-Man's plots are slow burn. They don't happen like that.
Oh yeah, the Clone Saga is full on teen soap opera.
Oh, God,
Smallville.
Yeah. And it's...
And I mean...
It can be good.
The,
It could have been great. It wasn't, but...
I mean, honestly, that's a pretty inspired idea. You could easily work with that. You could... Because, I mean, the Spider-Man plots in the comics are essentially that kind of storyline.
Yeah.
You know,
whereas most of the Batman comics, most of the... I can't really speak to Superman. I'm not a Superman comics fan. But most of the X-Men comics, they're kind of X of the week. You know? You can do a movie out of that. There is a crime. Batman figures out the crime. Batman gets the crime over with. Saves the day.
There is a thing, usually a disaster or a super crime. Superman sees this happen. Superman's at it. It stops.
Magneto shows up, fucks with everything. X-Men show up, chase Magneto away.
With sticks. Wooden ones.
Get out of here, you Magneto. There's another reason I'd love to see the X-Men franchise back in Disney's hands. I want to see another Wolverine. I don't hate what has been done.
You don't hate the Jackman?
No, he's okay, but I'd like to see someone different. I come from '90s Wolverine era, where Wolverine sounded like this,
and he cut salami.
Yeah, he cut salami. But even Steve Bloom is Wolverine. You know, that's a little more what I'm looking for. Hugh Jackman's like, hey, I'm Wolverine.
I'm Wolverine.
Snicked and Bub.
Just once I wanted to hear him go bub or snicked. I
like his character just
I think
fine.
he does say bub occasionally, but I just want to hear him look at someone and go, snicked. And then just nod
and wave his claws around.
Dude, I could just see Mystique doing it. Like she turns into Wolverine, gets caught, but for some reason Wolverine doesn't immediately begin stabbing her, and she looks around and goes, I'm Wolverine, snicked Bob.
Snicked and Bob.
And then she starts laughing and turns back into Mystique.
Oh, that's great.
Bet you Hugh Jackman would have a lot of fun with that one.
Oh yeah, hell yeah, that'd be fun. Yeah, there's so much untapped potential. You know what I'd like to see that keeps being talked about? Because it's going to be awful, and I want to see the depths of this awful. Or, somehow it'll be amazing. Youngblood.
Oh god, no. No, don't speak that shit into
Alright,
being.
two things. One, I think he has some good ideas.
I don't. I think he stole other people's good ideas.
Well, they're not doing anything good with them, so...
That's harsh, but true.
But no, there's a webcomic he does that's heavy-handed. It's got his Liefeldness all over it. But he doesn't draw it. So there's that.
Oh, so it's, not 4 oddly shaped balloons full of sausage gritting their teeth at each other.
No, it's, it reminds me of Spawn if Spawn weren't around. Like, it's all angels and demons and stuff. Angela, maybe, is the name? I don't remember. But it's not great. It's not bad, but it's a good window into his psyche, into what he's trying to do and failing. Like, Todd in the Shadows said of Zack Snyder, I think he understands and appreciates a lot of high concept stuff, but doesn't know how to do it properly. I think Zack Snyder's a bit more on a higher level than Rob Liefeld, but I think there's the same sort of, this is cool, and gosh, I'd love to do something with it. I don't know how. I think with a movie studio around him, they might accomplish something. Or it would fail miserably, and I would love to laugh at it.
I don't want to have to laugh at it. I don't want that to be, I don't want to have to see Bad Rock on the big screen.
Oh, come on, man. He could be played by John Cena.
Oh my god, he could be played by John Cena so easily.
That's perfect casting right there.
Why has no one tapped John Cena to play a superhero? He already is a superhero.
Because the world doesn't have a movie with Bad Rock in it yet.
Cena be a good Superman.
No, not really.
No, he's got the right physique. He has the lantern jaw. He sounds like Superman. Listen to him talk.
I've always been fond of the guy from Wings.
I've also been fond of Tony Shalhoub. I don't know what that's related to here.
What a weird Superman that would be. Now I'm not even seeing him like doing the voice of Superman. I'm seeing Tony Shalhoub in like a muscle suit and a cape. No, I don't remember which DC cartoon he did the voice in. Anytime I do Soups' voice, that's who I'm doing. I can't remember his fucking name either. Joe Hackett from Wings, not Brian. I always thought that was backwards. Brian is the goofy brother. Joe is the serious, down-to-earth one. He was in Private Practice as well. My phone is dead, otherwise I'd just look up his name.
I know who you're talking about.
Yeah.
Also, I imagine anyone who wants to know and doesn't can look up those two things. And
Sure,
find out,
yeah.
That's a pretty fucking small cross-section.
Google is one tab away.
Wings, comma, Private Practice. I bet you that's a
comma
small...
Superman.
That's a small fucking cross-section of society that's had roles in all three of those things.
I don't know about him in a movie role as him, but that's the kind of guy, that's the kind of voice I hear when I hear Superman. I think John Cena could be...
You know who I actually hear when I hear Superman? I actually hear specifically just the Justice League Superman.
Who is not far off from the actor I'm thinking about.
Mostly just whenever I go, Superman's voice in my head just starts playing the World of Cardboard speech.
Yeah.
That's just pure goodinium.
You know, I'm not a big Superman fan. I've been indoctrinated, is that the right word? I've been endeared to him in the last few years, mostly in seeing how much comic creators are like getting on his ass, and it's like, dude, if the people making you don't even like you, what do you have to live for, you poor bastard? Like, I like Batman and everything, but geez, give it a rest.
I like Superman. I've always liked Superman.
I used to hate him a lot, because I think his power set is all over the place and dumb.
Well, that's true of anyone who's been around as long as he has.
Yeah.
I mean, there was a Batman of Another World. Batman of Zerana.
It's an amazing character.
Stop it. I'm the Batman fan here, and I can recognize when something's really dumb. Grant Morrison made it really great.
This is the reason I don't have a favorite superhero, because this guy called Batman. We met, shook hands, and he was like, by the way, I like Batman, and you're not allowed to.
And then I gave him a look. It was such a look. But, yeah. Anyone who's been around as long as Superman is going to have some weird...
Yeah, and they usually try to trim him down. I didn't like Smallville, either.
Which I still don't get. That show was good.
I just didn't like it.
Up to a certain point. I haven't seen a lot of the later seasons. But, you know what? I can see why you didn't like it. It was Dawson's Creek with laser vision.
I wanted to like Man of Steel. I loved the Zod half.
We ain't got time for that conversation.
We do not have time for that conversation. It's a deep, deep conversation. I wanted to like it.
I did like it.
I'm
able to like things that also have flaws.
Flaws were too great. It's not that it wasn't flawless, it's that the flaws were too great. Look, I'm fully capable of admitting that if The Dark Knight Rises had changed Bane's voice, that movie would have been great.
Yeah, the rest of the flaws in that movie would have been.
Yeah, there are still flaws in that movie. Okay, the ending's kind of, especially the part with
at the cafe.
Well, no, I was talking more about the part with spoiler alert, not Robin. Who's getting a Nightwing movie, by the way.
Seriously?
Yes.
That doesn't need to happen.
No. Let's maybe, I don't know, have a Robin. A real one.
I don't think they're going to do a real Robin. I don't think they're ever going to do a real Robin on the big screen. Because
they're not going to do, Because everyone's going to want to do Dick Grayson. Or the current one. Asshole.
Damian Wayne?
Yeah.
Oh, no. He's dead. He's dead, and I do not mourn him.
Oh, everyone, creators love to make Damian Wayne Robin stuff.
Why?
I don't know. He's a little shit.
He's awful. He's an awful little shithead who is murder happy and un-Batman as fuck, and he's a fucking stupid character device. And he fucking harms the dynamic between Bruce Wayne and his many surrogate children, this sort of broken family that Bruce has carved up around himself. It's very important to the Batman mythos. It's very important to who Bruce is as a character. Damian Wayne shits all over that by his very existence. I'm really fucking glad that kid is dead.
But they're not gonna do... I hate myself for not thinking of his name. My favorite Robin.
Tim Drake?
Tim Drake, thank you. And all the other ones, spoiler included, are in my head, and I'm like, no, which one?
Or they'll do Jason Todd. Someone who's incredibly hateable and gets murdered by the Joker halfway through the movie.
Jason Todd's not a bad idea. Although they did that as an animated movie.
Yep.
With a weird choice for the Joker voice.
Yeah, I don't know why it was Bender.
If he could do a voice that wasn't Bender...
Would have been fine. But
I would have, yeah. But
he can only do Bender.
He can only do Bender doing impersonations of shit. And I like him. I like John DiMaggio and a lot of things, but...
He's Bender.
He's always going to be Bender. Or Jake the Dog, or whatever you saw him as first.
No, I saw him as other things first, and now that I go back and watch those things, that's Bender talking. He's Bender.
I'd like to imagine that eventually Bender will be flushed out of my head and replaced with something else.
Bite my shiny metal ass.
A classic quote for all time, I will admit. But if they did a Tim Drake Robin in a movie, not just a Tim Drake Robin movie, but if they did a Tim Drake Robin in a movie, A, he's old enough that it's not weird.
No, he's still a little kid.
When he starts out, he's a little kid. He becomes like a late teenager. That's when really he started to shine as a character, I feel, in the comics.
But they'd have to do, unless you are the 1989 Batman movie, you start with the origin story. So they have to start with how Robin started, and Tim Drake's the fucking third one. Okay?
Not necessarily. I mean... Well, two things there. One, you might be the 1989 Batman movie. Everybody wants to keep making the same fucking origin story over and over again, and I don't know why.
Well, they're not doing that with the Batman-Superman movie.
Well, to be fair, no, they're not doing Batman's origin again, and it is supposed to be a different Batman. But, otherwise in movies, everybody wants to do the origin again. And it's like, okay, A, nobody gives a fuck. You know, unless it's a really obscure comic character like Guardians of the Galaxy, we don't need to know.
We already know.
Or unless they're getting like a franchise for the first time, like Iron Man.
Yeah, you needed Tony Stark's origin story, because Spork and I know Tony Stark's origin story. Most comic fans know Tony Stark's origin story, but one, you're going to need to update it because, well, transistors aren't magic. And we haven't been in Vietnam or Korea in a long, long time. So you'll need to update it, and you'll need a new origin story. But you don't need a new origin story for Batman.
Yeah. Well, okay, if they remade Iron Man, like, for whatever reason, they started over from the beginning. Maybe Robert Downey Jr. exploded. Let's hope that never happens. But, okay, if you remade, you needed to do another Iron Man, don't do a fucking origin story.
Everyone knows Iron Man.
Everyone knows who Iron Man is now. Everyone knows who Batman is now. Everyone knows who Superman is. Period. They knew it before. Dude had a highly successful movie series already. Everybody knows who fucking Superman is.
The idea behind continuing to do the origin story is to bring your audience in this particular person, to get you their journey, to get you their emotional state. Whereas if you just start with Superman, he stops being relatable. That's actually kind of a problem with Man of Steel from a lot of people's perspective. Superman isn't necessarily supposed to be relatable.
I've heard arguments to that against and for that. do not have time for that. We're actually running over, if I'm correct. But
a little bit.
I think you should still, if you're a writer worth a shit, be able to introduce a character and relate them to people. That's your job as a writer, and do the origin story for a character to make people relate to them. Like, that's the only fucking reason. Then you're being lazy as a writer. Because you can do that shit. It's entirely possible. I'm not the best writer in the world. I'm a fucking hack. But, well, I've been affectionately referred to as a fucking hack. Buy my books. Links in the description, kids. But I can make you... I haven't told Colt's origin story straight from Colt's mouth. Do you need it?
Well, I haven't. But...
Well, I mean, it's in the book. But you don't see it play through. But it happens a little bit down the line. In the first book, Colt's like, this is what happened. You don't need it right up front. You don't need to see it happen right up front. You are introduced to the character, you find out things about that character to relate to, and you go from there. Superman is awesome because he's Superman. He saves the day, and he helps people, and he always makes time for the little guy. That's what's cool about Superman. He's Captain America.
With flight powers
With
and laser
powers. God, I love the new Captain America. I was never a Captain America fan before these movies.
Oh my God. I just want to state for the record, yet another time when pop culture was like, Chris Evans can't be Captain America. That's silly. He was already Johnny Storm. He's not going to be able to pull off the calm.
I had a little bit of doubt about him, I will admit, but I was willing to see where he was going to go with it.
And
I've seen a lot of Ben Affleck movies, man. It's not like...
Have you seen a lot of Ben Affleck movies that aren't involving Kevin Smith?
I've seen...
Have you seen any Ben Affleck movies that haven't involved Kevin Smith?
Was Kevin Smith involved in Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back?
Very lightly.
Okay. Well, there's
I
that.
think he was a producer.
I've seen... I got just Kevin Smith movies, I guess, but...
That's different. He's not... That's a different performance.
I understand the guy can do serious acting. I'm not saying he can't do serious acting. I'm saying I'm really worried he can't do Batman. I'm not saying I'm worried he can't do Bruce Wayne. I'm not saying I'm worried he can't do the tortured guy who is Batman and Bruce Wayne. I'm worried he can't do Batman.
I think Batfleck is going to crush it, personally.
I've
seen Daredevil, and I like that movie, so... All he has to do is be Daredevil in a differently colored suit. There.
Well, with the power of sight.
Well, that's what Daredevil's superpower is.
True.
He's a man who can't see whose superpower is seeing.
Alright, well, I'd love to rant until the end of time, but this is an hour podcast and we've already gone over.
Yeah, we're already a good 8 minutes over. So we should probably wrap it up. Any final words? Thoughts? Just gonna stare off blankly into space?
I think the world could use a good Steel movie.
The world could use a good Steel movie. A good one. Good one.
And Spoiler. I love Spoiler. I love her to death. Spoiler gets the shaft in all of DC media.
Apparently so does DC.
Yeah.
Well, we are definitely over time, so we're going to sign off now until we come back, hopefully on time, next week. Remember, everything's better when nerds talk about it.